we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Welcome back, loyal friends and family. Thanks for joining us once again. Man, the weeks are flying by. We're already into August. You know, summer's going to be winding down before we know it. But I'm at my favorite place right now. Art, it's great to see you. We have a great episode lined up tonight. Back in the studio with us. You've seen her before. She joined us on episode 100. You might have seen her last fall. Jacqueline Rose back with us doing some amazing things. Serial entrepreneur, a 3EO, as she likes to call herself. Man, can't wait to dive into this.
Yes, Jacqueline is crushing the game out there. She does so many different things and helps out communities in so many different ways. And it's exciting to talk to people like yourself, people that are kind of self-made, doing what they want to do, and accomplishing things that end up helping people in the long run. So we're really excited. You have something that's happening on the 22nd of this month of October in Colorado. If anybody's, yeah, I always get October and August mixed up.
It's okay.
That always happens of August, and it's a shootout, but it's for veterans and to help train people in the trades and educate people.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, really excited about it, actually. It's on August 22nd, so just a little over 2.5 weeks from today, and it's at Kiowa Creek Sporting Club, so it'll be one of the best. Any of you that enjoy shooting, it's one of the best shooting clubs in Colorado, and it'll be ammo included, which is huge right now because it's a bit scarce out there. Breakfast, lunch, ammo, and then a really nice raffle as well. So to your point, it's helping tradespeople, first and second year tradespeople with gaining career skills to be able to bring themselves to those six-figure incomes. So self-leadership, communication skills. They work about an hour in kind of a classroom or a workshop setting, and then the other hour is with horses. So they get the horse opportunity, which a lot of times you only see that in the executive suite where they get that kind of higher level training. So we're really offering it to veterans that are getting out of the military, and then tradespeople that are in their first, second year usually is our target there. So really excited about this event.
Yeah, it's coming quick. I'm going to try to attend it. I'd really like to. I love shooting. So if I can get down there, I absolutely will. We'll be sure to include the link down below. So if you guys are listening and watching, you want to attend, we'll give them a link so they can do so.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
I'm going to try to make it.
Awesome. Yeah, and there are other ways if anybody watching this doesn't shoot but wants to be involved, we actually have a volunteer link there. So if you want to just help check people in or have your work team give back, we have all types of different things that teams can do out there. And then also we're looking for more raffle items for anything really, that supports the Colorado lifestyle.
What's the dream raffle item, do you think?
Oh, boy.
That's a tough one.
I'd say, gift cards are always really good to like Sportsman's
Warehouse.
And Sportsman's Warehouse.
Love that place.
Outdoor World, any of those types of things. People really love those. Camping stuff, ski passes, trips and getaways, fishing trips, hiking gear. That type of thing. So that's a good question. But all of the Colorado lifestyle, outdoorsy type things is what most people look for in those kind of events.
Nice. Like maybe somebody sends in like a tent that's part of the raffle, or like, like an outdoor grill. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. And 99 Hearts, I know we covered this on the first time you were on, and that was a while back. And you do a lot of other things. I do want to help promote the shootout thing, sure. But 99 Hearts in general is there. It's like horse therapy, farm therapy, like land therapy almost. How would you describe kind of, because if you're a 3PO and you hold these different hats, kind of describe how all those fit into what the shootout is also trying to accomplish.
Sure. Yeah, so I gave myself the name 3EO.
Oh, yeah, 3EO. I said 3PO. We're not in Star Wars right now.
But good reference.
3EO.
No, it's actually something that I've been aspiring to do my whole life, but the nonprofit is what drove that my whole life. I started this dream when I was 5, and I might have touched on this last time, but horses saved my life from a really traumatic situation. I really shouldn't be here. And so this dream started when I was a little girl, 5 years old, and stopped me from committing suicide actually at age 6. So a really tough situation, and I just kind of held on to it, and it became a reality. But it'll be 6 years actually in October, so finally been around a good amount of time. And what we do is I've actually created 3 other businesses that each of them give back to one of the programs at 99 Hearts. So it's kind of a cool social enterprise thing. But 99 Hearts, we help people through horses. So we have our suicide awareness and support program. That's day retreats. That's getting people out to your, like what you said, kind of land therapy, out with the horses. We just added a really cool, I've spent about a month almost in Costa Rica adding another cool service offering, which we'll probably talk about. But we really get people out in the outdoors, in nature, away from the problem, and give them coping techniques to really help them to get themselves on a road where they're just back in the passion zone, right? Kind of walking towards what they're looking for rather than away from what may have been traumatic.
And organically, what kind of people reach out to you? I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's social media ways. There's coming on this podcast, we'll reach people. But if someone's organically looking for, hey, I need something, how are you guys kind of in the rankings, and how would they go about searching for something like that if that was even something they were interested in doing?
Sure. So they go on our website. It's 99hearts.org. And there's a little link there under each program of nominating yourself to actually be a part of the services. And so each week we look through all of the nominations and figure out who seems to be a fit, maybe someone that really is interested in working with the horses. And once someone's accepted, we give them dates, and they can come out and be a part of a workshop or part of a day retreat with the horses.
Excellent.
And we also partner with nonprofits, too. So if there are any nonprofits watching that help people in those categories, veterans especially, or people with PTSD that have struggled with suicide, we always look for those nonprofit partners as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hook you up with my buddy Kevin Fryer over there. He does a Hope for Veterans project, one of our sponsors, WOA. They do a lot for the vets.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, I think that would be a great fit. They they do a lot for the vets, and it seems to be a nonprofit and stuff. I could see a good partnership there. So we can talk about that a little bit off air. But good stuff. I love what you guys are doing. Going back a year ago, we were obviously in the thick of COVID. Things were dialed back a little bit. Everybody was struggling. How has it evolved through the winter since we last spoke to you last fall in 99 Hearts, the growth and kind of the vision of where it's headed?
Sure. So we've added some board members, which is good. Some good board members that have background in what we're looking for, and we're even looking for 2 more board members, and really just have dialed our services in to be able to offer more. So with the equine assisted yoga we're adding to the table, that's really fun. It's aimed more at that kind of blue collar or veteran type crowd, and so some really fun things that we do with yoga and horses. So we've added 2 certifications to that program. Also added 2 horses, which is really cool.
Do the horses stretch as well with people? Because horses need to stretch out too, right?
They don't. Horses don't do the yoga. It's the
Okay.
people.
No, but I didn't know, because sometimes you see people's dogs hanging out with them, or
there's goat yoga.
Yeah, and there's.
Yeah, little goats.
I'm uneducated in this, so I didn't know how flexible a horse is, or how far a horse would go with that type of training of doing stretches with people. I don't know. I was letting my imagination kind of fly there.
That'd be pretty funny. Yeah, no, it's actually just kind of like regular yoga. You're doing a lot of standing poses. We're adding a classic rock yoga theme for veterans for some of the programs that we're doing, and so just really fun. And it's a lot more on the using the horse's energy also. So there's some poses where maybe if you're not really good at yoga, it might be hard to balance. You can kind of use the horse.
That's what I need to do.
As a balance. Exactly.
Like I was telling you, I'm
cool.
terrible at yoga. I tried. I just started this week. So something like that with a little bit of AC/DC playing. I mean, come on. Sign me up.
You'll be a yoga rock star in no time.
I love it. I think that's a cool approach. It's a cool way to get people, like we were saying, that are not necessarily, yoga doesn't sound like something you'd want to do, even for me. Throw a little hard rock and a horse in there, man, you just up the stakes.
I mean, you got to keep trying new things, like in life, and whenever you've had success, that gives you more strength to create more success. And so I feel like that's really cool that you're taking an opportunity to stay creative with your capability, and because you're able to do that, and then also add new things on top of it to help people out, because being around animals, animals have an energy. Everything has an energy, and that's gonna help you. And then, not to mention, just even stretching your body obviously would help as well. But it's awesome to just continue to innovate. I mean, that's what every business owner does, right? Like, we all keep working, we fail multiple times, we learn from that, and then from failure comes success.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've failed ourselves, multiple times, just said, oh, that was wonderful. But the amount of energy that would take if we did that every Wednesday would be, insane. We'd need 20 more people. And so really done a great, COVID really inspired some consolidation on really getting groups together. And the good thing about that is a lot of people missed out on that social interaction. So it's really nice getting people together, and they meet a new friend or find somebody that's doing something else that's really helping them out with what they're going through, which might be very similar. And so we've really increased it to groups and have slimmed down those individual things more and more the last 2 years, and it really seems to bring the camaraderie.
So smaller groups of people in the classes, whatever the class is, it's a smaller group of people. Do you feel like it's helped because you have more of that one-on-one connection, opposed to you have a ton of people in the class, then you can't quite bond with everybody? Or have you seen like any difference in the results of the different programs, or based upon class size? Or I'm just kind of curious about that whole psychology of like decreasing the class size, the overall results of how people are impacted by the same course.
Sure. Yeah, 6 to 12 is kind of the magic number. If it's a day retreat, so I like to have 12 people there. That way they can pair up and have the opportunity to have somebody else in the team if we're splitting them up into teams. But we've done 6 as well. Before, we did a lot of individual things. And even really down to the last time I would have been here, we were doing a lot of virtual and individual things, which is really nice, right? It can really be helpful and wonderful. But there's a lot of programs that do that. So we're also able to differentiate a little and just get people together and build some relationships. So that's been really good.
That's the bottom line, right? It's just to surround yourself with the right people, helping people. I think it's really cool that you found, something that brought you a sense of enlightenment and joy early when with the horses, and going back to, the traumatic experiences that you described a little bit, that was then kind of your mission, drive, and purpose. And here you are adding to it. I think it's very inspiring for a lot of people to hear that, because some people go their whole lives not really knowing what brings them that sense of joy. And I really like what you guys are doing, and I'm super excited to see where it's going. It's pretty cool.
Us too. Yeah, we got the 2 horses. So they're just fresh adopted. I mean, yesterday, really.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So they are.
That's definitely going to be a chore. So I wonder if, when you were younger, and because you're kind of mentioning, when you're 6 years old, horses saved your life. When you were at that young, impressionable age, once you had that experience and you felt the power, the energy from the animals, did you kind of create that vision back then? Because nothing just happens. Like, you have to see it before it happens. So when did you first see this vision before it ever existed, before 99 Hearts ever existed?
Yeah. So actually, it's really, sometimes the worst things are the best things. That's what I've learned, and that's what really was the case with me. And I had such a traumatic experience that it was kind of every little amazing thing was amplified by eons. And so first time riding a horse, it was this little white and brown pony, and I just remember that flying feeling and thinking, oh man, if I could just have a horse, it would be wonderful. And so I started dreaming this when I was 5 or so, about 5 and a half. I mean, I really remember it because Golden Gate is where our ranch is, that area in the foothills. And
it's so beautiful out there.
Oh, it is.
It's
gorgeous.
So beautiful. I only hiked out there once, and those trails go on for a while. There's 12-mile trails, and it goes on for a while, but that land out there is just so beautiful. Rolling hills, there's aspens tucked away.
Tremendous.
And it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah, and you can hear all the birds, and I mean, other than planes, it's really quiet. So it was really, I went there camping my first time as a little girl, and I was like, okay, if I can grow up and have a farm or a ranch and have ponies for kids to ride, then that'll be like, a dream come true. That was my dream. And I had no idea there was horse therapy, that there were nonprofits. I mean, I didn't know anything. And so I would wish I've always been really driven. So wish every night, about 30 minutes, I would just look up to the stars and wish, when I grow up, I want to have a farm and help people through horses. And so that's really what it was. It just, when I was there and contemplating suicide as a little girl, I looked and I had got this poster from my 6th birthday. It had all these white horses on it. So I just remember thinking, wait, don't, because the dream, what if you can do that? And it just kept, I really held on to it, and it really became feasible when I started getting into the business world. And that's why I'm so passionate of giving back to that industry, because that, just working and saving up and all those things is what made it really possible eventually. So
It's amazing how young you were knowing that dream, and that you were able to positively affirm to yourself, just keep grinding. This is the ultimate goal. The old saying, where focus goes, energy flows, right? And you believed and achieved it. I think that's incredible. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do growing up. I thought I wanted to be a meteorologist. I went through a tough adolescent period, some of the suicidal depression stage in my teen years. So I kind of experienced that late. And so for me, I'm 32 years old, and I'm still just now figuring out what it is I want to do. So to know at such a young age and then to be fulfilling it now is just tremendous.
thanks.
Yeah. I mean, it's very inspiring.
Yeah, no, that's epic. I mean, it's fruition. Is that the word I'm trying to? Fruition. Yeah, that it's like you're creating its manifestation, and it's interesting because the more, like what you just said, where the focus goes, the energy flows. But the more that the energy flows there, then the more it like gains weight, and it gets bigger, and it creates a gravity, and then it starts attracting other things that are similar. And so like when you're like dead set, like my biggest thing in life has always been to try to have a positive impact, create an energy that, can help make somebody's day better. Or because I myself in my teens, like I was super insecure, like absolutely insecure. I would think myself out of kissing a girl, or, talk myself out of opportunities, and just, had a lot of like self-doubt and not a good perception of my appearance and all this stuff. I was very much so in my own head, and it took me, and I was even using affirmations back then to try to be a better person, and I was still dealing with that. So, it takes work, but and it takes time. Like you have to be patient. Like you didn't start where you are now, and people look at you now and they're like, wow, she's so successful. She's helping people, wow, that personality. But it's like, you had to get here from taking steps and staying focused on it. And like you said, failing and learning the right way. And so, anyone out there who's trying to make a huge impact, and it's important to know that it's going to be a slow burn, I guess, because you really have to dedicate yourself to it and your mind to it.
And be willing to fail sometimes. I mean, it's like, climbing a mountain. You might slip and tumble a little bit. Right when you get to the top, there might be one a little bit higher. It's never done. You never just like, okay, I'm here, we're done. You keep leveling up, right? And it's easy to get discouraged. I mean, we've all been there. It's how we respond to those dark days, how we respond to the setbacks. Maybe things didn't go the way you want. Good. We learned. It's an opportunity to move forward. Absolutely.
I'm a really big, that's it, is one thing that really just kind of was a catalyst for me of results versus dreams. And especially this being such a heart dream, right? It's really easy to go, I don't need a fundraise. I don't need to do that. I just love doing this. It's just wonderful. And yet one of the things that really kind of was a catalyst was when I realized it really isn't looking to achieve anything. It's always looking to find the satisfaction and the passion in the moment, even from the difficult pieces of it all the way to the highest levels of success. You really have to love where you're at and know that there's never an end. If you're not looking for an end, then I think that's how you keep climbing. And I'm so thankful for some of the people I learned that from over the years, and more in the business world, that kind of taught me that, and me teaching myself that by doing the opposite and realizing, oh man, I got here and now it's not the end. It's like basically the beginning, if that, right?
Sure. I know the feeling. Yeah. I mean, it takes constant work, but it takes, what's the old saying? You get out of life what you are, not what you want, right? So you got to kind of manifest it early on, and it's difficult to do. For myself, I mean, I listen to so much positive motivational stuff to try to keep my head on track because, the dark arts, as I like to call them, the social media, people, the haters, if you will, they're out there. That's always going to be a real thing. People are going to hate. People are going to talk you down. People aren't going to believe in you. And those are the challenges that I personally like. I know everybody responds differently to that. It's good to have a nice support group, and support people along the way. But constructive criticism and just straight hatred, I think, are polar opposites, and both carry different weights in different directions. So, it's hard to put a degree and a level on what's success because everybody has different levels of success for their own goals, right? So I don't know. It's an individual basis, I feel like, and I learn every week.
Well, hold on now. If you want to save 20% off of the best CBD in the game, you got to go to mountainmadecbd.com and enter that promo code DCPC.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me right now that if I go to mountainmadecbd.com and I enter in promo code DCPC,
that's absolutely right.
I'm going to save 20% off some of the clearest, purest, most affordable CBD in the market?
That's absolutely right. Get your 50 milligram build tablet. That's going to crank the beginning of the day off in the right direction. Goes great with caffeine.
I can't believe it, man. This is some of my favorite products to take. That Build, Boost, Recover, Defense, Combat, Puff, you name it. Let a rip, tater chip. We got products for dogs. These guys are crushing the game. They're going like hell. And if I can save money on my favorite product, what am I doing, guys? Get over there, type in that promo code DCPC to save on some of the clearest, purest, most affordable CBD on the market. It truly is. Do the math yourself. A lot of competition in the CBD game. These guys will ship coast to coast, San Diego to Bangor, Maine. That's hashtag go like hell, baby.
Absolutely. We are also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures. Now, when you want to explore this beautiful state of Colorado, go to WOAMEET.com.
Man, I am sure glad that I signed up for free on this website because I have been able to experience some of the most beautiful trails, beautiful scenes in Colorado, man. Never would have known about some of these places, these hidden gems, guys. Maybe you just moved to Colorado. Maybe you want to get outdoors and get a little bit adventurous. This is the place to do it. Hope for veterans, hope for singles, hope for teens, hope for whoever, really. Get on over there and create a profile. Check it out, man.
Absolutely. Check that out. And that is hashtag less dreaming and more exploring.
Let's jump back into the action.
Yeah, absolutely. And that negative stuff can really propel you if you let it. I was the opposite. I was like you when you said growing up, I was, people would say things and, I'd be crushed forever. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not this enough. And then suddenly it was like I got into the energy, construction, and aerospace industries, and that they didn't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what world you've been through or how hard your life might have been. You really have to be assertive while still being kind. And one thing I learned is just kind of letting that negativity make you say, no, actually I can do it. I don't have to convince you I can do it. I just have to put my eye on this and let you motivate me even more to keep wanting it because I know I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody watching that's kind of like teetering on that, social media is, it's tough these days. And I think if you could just find a way to let that motivate you, it really does make all the difference. Earlier on is always better as well.
It's such good advice because someone's perception of you doesn't have to be your reality. It just doesn't. And especially in adolescence, I mean, I grew up before Facebook and all that stuff. I don't know if I would have been able to handle Facebook in my teens. But, I had my own deals with insecurities like we're talking about, just other people's opinions and trying to live up to expectations and all that kind of stuff. It's amplified 10x now, and it's so easy to let other people's opinions become your reality. And so that, I think, I don't envy the younger generation of having this around them all the time. I mean, communication's great, but I think social media, which we've touched on a lot on this program, can really, really throw a wrench in the works, on a lot of different levels. I mean, it can ruin people's professional careers because of opinion you took, being passionate about something. Now somebody thinks you're this way because you dress that way. It's amazing. So if we can rechannel all of that, to motivate us and propel this mission forward. That's the name of the game. Easier said than done, but just affirming it, I think, is a start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like use social media. I mean, social media can be a bad thing, and it's also a great thing all at the same time, because if you could utilize it in the right ways, and I feel like when it's a bad thing, and I'll just put that out there so you could find out the good ways to use it yourself, but it's bad when and I'm guilty of this. Every single person's guilty of this, and that's why I bring it up, is so I check myself. I try to remind myself to be aware of it, but sometimes you're just sitting there and you're just kind of scrolling, and you might laugh at one thing and you kind of keep scrolling, and then all of a sudden, like, you're scrolling for 30 minutes. It might turn into an hour, and that's when it's getting out of control, when you're not using it for a specific purpose and you're just on it to combat boredom, because it's really important nowadays, especially with how quick we all have information, how fast we receive everything. Like, everything is an instant fix nowadays, and too often people don't want to be left alone with their thoughts, and I think that's a horrible place to be, because if you aren't comfortable with your own thought process and just being in a room by yourself and maybe listening to music and digesting your day, it's so important, and to learn yourself. I've been through many different phases. Like, I went through the insecurity phase, and then I was like 19, 20-ish when I finally snapped that and felt good things happening. But then out of that confidence, I was arrogantly abusing opiates, and I felt like opiates were making me a better person and helped me sell whatever I was selling at the time. It helped me sell better, and I was looking at it like, this makes me better. But, out of that arrogance and confidence that I had developed, then I had a weakness because I wasn't staying, aware of, and I was thinking that I was stronger than, a drug. So I ended up abusing opiates for like 12 years, and then heavily, and then getting cars repoed and screwing my credit, like, from a mid 700s credit score to like low 400s, and just completely ruined all my priorities and any progress that I had made. And it's just interesting because now, coming out of that, it's been about 6 or 7 months, and it was a 5-year process of getting to that 6 or 7 months clean. But now that I'm here, and tying back into the whole thoughts thing is why I'm talking about this, because being aware of my thought process now and being thankful for where I'm at now, it's just really important to kind of have a personal relationship with yourself, because if you're avoiding that, and you're avoiding boredom by scrolling on the internet for hours on end, or comparing your life to others, and you're just trying to escape this boredom of lack of productivity, then your life won't be fulfilling. And honestly, working my ass to the bone has made me a happier person. Challenging myself to do something different has made me a happier person. I might wake up really tired some mornings, but I wake up knowing that I grinded the day before, and that feels good. It feels good to do something right, but we have to battle our thoughts, and we have to battle boredom. I could go on this for a while, but I feel like it's important to kind of just sit back and think about it a little bit, and we're always going to grow. Time doesn't stand still, and we're going to continue to grow and continue to learn, and we have to continue to succeed and challenge ourselves to try to get to the new level. And that's, in my mind, a happy life, because then you're not idle. You're not looking back at your life when you're older, what did I do with my time? Where did it all go? Because it flies by. At least it flew by because you were burning the soles off your shoes running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of my theories is creating. If you can replace half of that thought, that stuff that goes on in your head, or even the lack of it, right? Sometimes it is just kind of getting away with whatever it might be. Creation is really, it's the perfect antidote to to those darker feelings, to that kind of numbness, to that need to escape. And it could be as simple as creating, drawing, art, creating content from social media, right? I meet a lot of teens that can kind of flip that script by even just creating fun content that they're passionate about, whether it's just a puppy that they have and his own Instagram page, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's amazing ways that you can create instead of those things. And one other thing you touched on, which I love, is just finding a way to look back with learning from what you went through, regardless of what it was, rather than kicking yourself, right? And personally, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't the case with all the things I've gone through in my life, is really just look back and think, well, now because I went through that, I care enough to help these people, or I care enough to create this business or to grow this business because I know what it's like to not have that, So.
Yeah, and it's important to keep that in the brain as well, because just staying busy is great, but you never want to forget how you got there and those milestone moments. I think it's important to note those in the mental notebook. It is for me for sure. When I look back, I don't want to forget those moments, because it's varying levels of things that brought you. This is phase 1, 2, 3. We're leveling up along the way. And I like what you said about how you can take, social media can be a blessing and a curse, because if you flip that energy, even as a teen, and take creativity from the scrolling to maybe transmitting that into entertainment or art or something funny, bringing someone, you're impacting someone's life, right? Because now maybe they got a laugh from it. So there's definitely ways to take the positive out of the negative, so to speak. It's all about how you look at it, of course. And one of the things for me, I think that a piece of advice or a challenge that I would give people, and I like to do this experiment. This was kind of pre-COVID, but I spent a lot of time on the road on my own, and some of the previous hats that I wore at my old company, just traveling around doing different things. So restaurants, bars, you name it, attending concerts, just on my own. And, you always see people when they get uncomfortable in a social setting, immediately just kind of pick up. You can feel that energy.
Yeah.
They feel awkward, so they go to this. So I would always challenge myself at a restaurant, at a bar when I was by myself, to either keep my phone in the car or keep it in my pocket and not touch it, and just really sit back and observe what's going on around me. Maybe the game's on the TV. Maybe I have a conversation with the bartender. Maybe I meet a new friend sitting at the bar with me. And that changed my entire persona and approach to getting away from the phone and having that be a filler for boredom, because that is where the mind goes. So I think it's a good challenge. I challenge people, if you're in a restaurant or something, to just go in there without your phone and really pay attention to what's going on around you, because it really helped me. It's such an easy crutch to get away. You never know who you're going to sit next to on the RTD. But the other problem is, then that person might have their earbuds in and they don't want to talk to you. They look at you like you're nuts. So I don't know. I think it's fun.
No, I think that's a great place to start, my eyes, sometimes I close them and they burn because I'm staring at screens all day long. I'm on my phone, I'm on the computer working, and then we're watching TV. The things I value more now, more than ever, is just having an experience, and go sitting out on the patio watching the trees blow around in the breeze, and just taking it in, because there's so many other, the mind is going to do what it wants to do if you're not behind the driver's seat. And so everyone has the ability to be behind the driver's seat of their mind. You might not know about that. You might not be educated in how to do that. You might have to practice harder. Sure. And that's all right. Like I was saying, with the whole, once you think about something, that the energy flows there and then gravity builds and then it starts, that's synchronicity. Once things start attracting toward a positive mindset, but it's going to happen either way. Either you're going to have a positive mindset, be optimistic, or you're going to be a pessimist. And either way, you're building that gravity. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what you do, you're going to start attracting what you are, kind of what you were talking about, Kev.
Yeah. And
so it's just a great reminder, and everyone's going to have a dark place that they got to come out of, right? But it's just that's part of the journey, is getting beat up and bruised and taking hits, and it's part of the journey.
So that's how we get challenged. Get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. The battle goes on. You don't want to throw in the towel. So I know it's all cliche kind of sounding, I guess, if someone's maybe struggling with some of those issues. because it took me years, and it's still a constant struggle for me. You know, I battled anger problems, depression most of my life.
I mean, you probably still do it.
It's a constant
I
battle.
still think about like the little pills of happiness, you know, that used to, like, I'll dream about them sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I'll have dreams where I take them and then I wake up like, why in the F did I take that in my dream? And I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, and it makes me question it. And it's just good to stay vigilant, you know, regardless of what your goals are. Just try to spend some time and energy on it, because then you could accomplish big things like Jacqueline over here and really help people, you know. And I mean, you've helped over thousands of people, I guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And trust me, I still have anger. I have anger issues, and I love it, though, because it makes me angry, where I'm like, okay, I want this, and that didn't work. So I'm going to get angry at this thing until we master it, right?
Yes.
And it's create the next level of a plan, or maybe ask a mentor, find a new mentor. So I think that, and to your point, it is a bit cliche until you, like you said, your mind's going to do what it's going to do unless you kind of wrangle it and make it your own, right? Because it is. And you actually can, and that's one of the reasons we like using the horses and the mindfulness work and the hypnotherapy, the yoga, all these different things that we've brought to the table to really bring people to the now and remember that, yeah, it's all the same place, but you've got a lot of power of where that place goes and what you do with it. So really excited to continue our growth with that over the next couple of years, months, weeks, days. Yeah.
Days, weeks, months, looking forward to it. So Costa Rica, I want to know about it. How was it? Look, I mean, I saw some pictures. It looked absolutely fantastic. You said it was kind of a workcation, so you got to, you know, enjoy the beach or, you know, the jungle while also doing some training exercises. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so it was actually, let me think here, Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica. So
okay.
Beautiful place, tropical. There was one kind of adverse moment that we got a tropical storm, and the bridge home washed out. So that was a little bit of a talking about using your mind to kind of manage your emotions, right? Because everyone was kind of like, oh no, what are, you know, people, we all have obligations, and they were able to fix it rapidly. It's a heavy banana industry down there, so they have really they have got to get the road back up and running. So they got it up and running just in time, but it was fantastic. It was my husband and I, and we went for 3 weeks for the certification to bring equine assisted yoga into our programs, both with 99 Hearts, the nonprofit, but then also with our healing business, New Universe, which gives back to 99 Hearts. So it was kind of a twofold scenario mixed in with a little bit of vacation, because we didn't do a lot with COVID, but the food, I'll tell you, the food was
So
really good.
I want to know.
Yeah, I have a food addiction. I feel like it's something I'm working on. So you know I got to hear about this. Like, what were the top 3 dishes?
Ceviche. So if you like, have you ever tried ceviche?
That's like it's like tomatoes. Is it like a red sauce, like mixed up with potatoes and like sausage, and is that what that is?
No, it's actually like a lime cure with whitefish. So it's like a whitefish lime cure. They do different seafood as well, and they put it in this mix, and you have onions and little banana chips. So those little plantain chips, so they're fried, and you can kind of scoop them. All of their chips are homemade. So it's so nice, at least where we went, where it's not bagged chips. So really delicious. The mango juice, pineapple juice, watermelon juice. It's hot up there, so you need juice throughout the day.
Is it really humid too?
It is. Oh
it's
my
a jungle,
God.
right?
I feel like I aged about 15 years coming home. I was like, whoa, it's getting so hopeful seeing myself in the mirror out there. And then I get here and it's like, no, there's a wrinkle there. But no, it was fantastic. The ocean, beautiful ocean there. It goes in waves. I mean, some days you've got really volatile waters, and then other days you can go out and just kind of walk forever up to, you really can walk for forever without worrying about anything with waves. We got to ride horses. We're at a place where they have the horses at the facility to do the yoga with, and so we ended up hiring a ride to just go out on a private tour. So that
tremendous.
was fantastic. Yeah.
Did you see any sloths while you were there?
Yes.
You did?
Absolutely. Oh, we stayed in the treehouse,
and
it was called the Sloth. So it's like a little one-room cabin, and there was a sloth, and Ezra, my husband, kept saying, there's 2 sloths up there. And I thought, oh, my God, that's a pile of leaves.
They're such a unique creature.
They are.
So was it a sloth or was it just...
It wasn't a pile of leaves. It was a sloth.
Wow.
It was up there for 12 hours. And so when they say they move slow,
they're slow.
they mean it, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like turtles here in the States where if one's trying to cross the road down there, everyone kind of stops and assists the animal to the other side of the road. I think it'd be cool to see one in person. I've only seen them they almost look a little bit surreal, I feel like.
Sloths?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look happy. All the paintings, they're smiling. They're monkeys.
Yeah.
All 3 different types of monkeys we saw. The capuchin monkeys or the white-faced monkeys. And these guys, one of the gals that owned the place, she said that in the town, they're this smart. They will go and plant a little baby monkey, and all the tourists will come around and see the baby, and the monkeys will go and raid their backpacks for treats.
Really?
Yeah, so they'll take snacks, sandwiches, fruit, whatever.
Right out of your bag.
Yeah.
Take your lunch.
Yeah.
So the monkeys learn this behavior. They have baby monkeys, and they leave a baby monkey out because they know humans are going to be like, oh, so cute, and it's going to distract humans. And during that distraction,
The other monkeys.
they take the advantage of that.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. We didn't get to see it in real life, but she told us about it, and we got to see them, but they just kind of scream at you. They're a little bit more...
Are they aggressive?
It kind of sounds that way. The spider monkeys, no, and then the howlers sounds like monsters are in the trees, but it's really cool. After you're there for a few days, they wake you up at about 4:30 in the morning because they're way up high. So they start howling, and you don't need an alarm clock. Howler monkeys wake you up every day.
Wow. What a cool sound to wake up to, though.
Yeah.
Is that the oh?
It's like I can't do.
You were gonna do it.
It's pretty loud, and it just all over the entire jungle. And when it's gonna rain, you hear them, so you know, rain's coming. So you go get your.
They
rain
kind of
jacket.
give you a warning.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I want to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
My cousin owned a surf shop down there for a little bit, and I was gonna go, and then he came back to the States. But it looks like such a fun place. You know, the food sounds really tremendous. The scenery's beautiful. Unique wildlife. Yeah, I need to do more traveling, I think. South of the border. Done a lot of traveling in the States. Time to see what else is going on down south.
Yeah. Yes, it was wonderful. I will say I usually don't get this excited over a travel, but probably the best trip I've ever had in my life, regardless
Really?
of all the hard work we did in class 6 days a week. It was best trip of my life, for sure. The food, fantastic. The meat is all natural, so you don't get as much stuff, right? It's chicken's chicken, and so it was really good eating. I mean, I have kind of food addiction myself, so it's like
It's just amazing though that, you know, we were talking about on the elevator ride up just how going back to the basics, you know, the basic food. Chicken here, you go to the grocery store and buy it. God knows what's in it. You know, down there you're
How stressed out that chicken was its entire life and what kind of hormones.
Sure. I mean, it's just amazing how, you know, 1,000 miles south of the border, you know, everything's natural. What are we doing? What are we doing?
the bananas taste like Starburst. So if you go,
They're that sweet?
have some. Yeah. So they don't. The locals won't eat the bananas at the store. They'll just eat them because they have these big, giant banana things that they cut off the trees, and they ripen for days. And first time tasting it, I was blown away. It tastes like a Starburst, so really good. It makes normal bananas
What
just
flavor
taste like oatmeal.
Starburst though? Because that's important.
It'd have to be the tropical one.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know what flavor, but it made it regular bananas taste like oatmeal. Literally, I was like, wow, this tastes kind of like oatmeal now. When I got back to the States. So.
Now, were they big bananas, though? Because I know, like, you know, with the GMOs and the way that they mass produce produce in different areas, you know, these things are, you see a tomato the size of a bowling ball. Was that the case down there where the bananas like real small because they're supernatural?
About this big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really little. There were some that were a little bit bigger, but you get some little tiny ones too.
Well, and that's more realistic because ancient bananas were not like our normal size bananas today. Same with corn. Like these have been modified throughout time to yield more. And so I'd be really interested in tasting a non-modified Starburst banana.
Yeah. Now you just have to book a ticket to Costa Rica, definitely.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to get out there and see the world and experience the world and, you know, feel the air, you know, feel how heavy does the air feel. Like I think about things like that, like you take a deep breath and it's like, you know, that feels really good. You know, I try to take my day into a bunch of tiny, minuscule wins. And that's how I try to get through every single day, like, grinding up these coffee beans for fresh ground coffee in the AM to start working from home. Like, how blessed am I? I try to remind myself, because everyone gets in like a shit attitude where you're like kind of like over your job for no reason, and you're just kind of feeling burnt out. And it's because it's easier to be negative, and the mind pulls toward negativity naturally. And so, I mean, I'm somebody who tries to practice positive mind techniques constantly, and I'm constantly going to war with myself. And that's something I suggest everybody does is battle yourself. You have to wake up willing to fight yourself every day in order to be the person you want to be. Because life is going to test us. It's going to throw curveballs. It's going to test our patience. Like, technology pisses me off all the time, and I have to stay patient. And like, why am I letting this get to me? It's take a breath, Arthur. It's not worth this thing frustrating. And sometimes I just need to remind myself. But it takes time. So that's something that I feel like everybody is capable of doing. But I had a question, and it's kind of fun. And I've been thinking about it all day, like what my answer is going to be. So I want to ask this to Jacqueline, and also, of course, this guy right here. And so when I was a child, for example, I would sometimes try to test the limits to see, like, if I had a superpower. Like, I saw The Matrix, I saw that movie, The Matrix, and they're like, you have to believe that you can jump. And so I would be a kid, like, on the couch trying to, like, jump to the other part of the sectional, like, and I was like, well, maybe if I believe this, and so I would try that, and like, I would try to, like, can I fly, and so, I don't know if everybody has done that when they were kids, but
in some varying degrees.
Yeah. If you did, what superpower were you trying to get? And like, if you could pick any superpower to have now, what would your superpower be? And you could do anything that you could possibly think of for a superpower.
Ooh, time travel. I don't know if that's a superpower. That'd be mine. But I fly or time travel. Yeah, I didn't have any as a kid. I always would dream of flying and wish, but no, never really tried it.
Yeah, I think being aquatic, I tried as a kid and almost drowned. I wasn't able to breathe underwater. Learned that pretty quick, living on a lake. I can't, I don't think I was trying to do flying though. I mean, I guess as kids, we all maybe put a parachute on and, try jumping off things. But if I had to pick a superpower, flying comes to mind for sure, because how cool would that be? Or invincibility. I think that would be the other one that I kind of imagine, because I was a huge Terminator fan as a kid.
Is that like a Wolverine thing then? Like, if you're invincible, then like, do you regenerate?
Well, I think I look at it more like, the Terminator as a kid. I always wondered if, like, well, maybe I'm a metal skeleton, and I won't feel pain, and it takes a lot. So invincibility, I think, was a childhood superpower that maybe I envisioned that I would still like to have. You could take a bullet, it's not going to take you down.
Yeah. So you said one though today that because I've been brainstorming on this all day long. Like, I've been thinking about what's the superpower that I would want, and I didn't think about time travel. So what would you be using time travel for?
I'd go back to the 50s or 60s.
Such a fun decade.
And just like spend a day there and
at least a month. Yeah.
And then come back to the future.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I wouldn't come back, actually. You never know. I think I just would want to be around the cars and
the food,
the people, the cars, the music.
Mm-hmm.
The music. Yeah, I just like obsessed with that era. The cars and the music is like life. And so I think if I could just go and just sit at a diner and not have a phone, just hang out.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
I'd probably choose, the 50s, the 40s, really fun decades. My parents are both born in the 50s, so I've seen the pictures. It looked fun. I liked the way people dressed. Things were simple. Cars, I mean, I'm a Ford guy, so the 1967, Shelby GT500, I would have loved to have seen that. I would definitely do mid to late 60s. Such a great era for cars, muscle cars especially. Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah. I'm a muscle car person. And 60, I like the Camaro. First generation Camaro was really nice. The Chevelle. You get into 70 for muscle cars.
So it sounds like you're more of a Chevy leaner, I'm gathering.
Yeah, I have a Chevelle, a
Okay.
69 Chevelle, and then a 70 Barracuda. So that was saved up for 8 years. I searched for 8 years for that thing. So I finally found it in Kansas. Drove 10 hours to even look at it. And I rented a car to look at it because I had just a shit car, honestly, at the time. And so it's been a lifelong.
A 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cudia?
It's not a Hemi.
Okay.
It's a 383.
Ooh, what color?
Black.
Badass. That's so cool.
Originally black car. Yeah, so I've been like that my whole life, just like obsessed over like, I gotta have that. And I'll save up for years, and people are like, are you ever gonna let go of that stupid dream? I'm like, no, not till it's in the garage.
Yeah, why not? That's cool. Yeah, eventually I will have a 67 Shelby. I'll tell you that. That's just the coolest Mustang.
Yeah, those are really nice. Is that what Eleanor was?
Eleanor was
Yes.
a 67 GT500. Yep, gray, black stripes. I think I want a blue with white stripes, the classic.
Oh, that
Clean,
sounds nice. I like
the
that
old
look.
fastback look. The 66 kind of rocked that with the 350, but yeah, go baby go.
Yeah. No, Ford. I used to be a Chevy person and kind of go, oh, Ford. But now I'm kind of, you get to a stage where you realize the trucks these days are pretty nice, and then
Oh, here.
So you're really
Kevin's rolling over.
I don't know if I've ever showed this tattoo.
I don't think you have.
I don't think I've ever
it
showed this on
air.
Discussion Combustion. It's a 1950 Ford rat rod
Oh wow.
in the Ford tattoo. So I'm a walking billboard.
So this
Ford.
is serious.
Oh yeah, this runs deep. This runs deep.
So you already know that I poke fun at Ford all the time, even though I drive a Mercury right now.
Which has a Ford motor in it.
Exactly.
So we like to have fun with it.
Yeah, I used to be that way with Chevy. It was just Chevy.
Yep.
I had a 67 Camaro too. I accidentally let that go, which was talk about regrets. Or try not to dwell on your regrets. I struggle with that one. But
So you can drive a standard transmission then?
I can, but I don't anymore. Yeah, these two, both of them are automatics.
Okay.
So the Chevelle's a automatic on the column, and then the Cuda is an automatic as well. I mean, it's fast still.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh, yeah.
not a stick.
I mean, there's nothing like actually shifting through gears and doing that is like such a satisfying driving experience.
Yeah.
It's beyond. It's like you and the car are completely one. I mean, when you're driving an automatic, like you kind of feel like, yeah, I know this car. It knows me. Like
Feels like a go-kart to me.
Yeah, but like when you're driving the manuals.
I've never owned an automatic vehicle ever in my life.
Really?
Never owned
Wow.
one. My girlfriend just got a nice new Chevy Tahoe. You know, she's a Chevy girl. I'm a Ford guy, so you can kind of already see how that goes. It's kind of fun. We poke fun at each other with that. But I loved clutching, grabbing gears. My 2012 Ford Focus, you know, real impressive vehicle, will probably be one of the last manual transmissions I drive just because they're going so far away from it. You know, all these new cars are, you know, they have the sequential shifting, which is basically, they call it a manual. You can do the paddle shifts. I don't consider that, you know, 4 on the floor, 5 on the floor. That's old school. Let me grab gears, you know.
How about the 3 on a tree though?
3 on a tree's taking it back to the 40s, you know, the 50s. Old school shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a different experience. Definitely. When I was young, that's all I cared about. When I was really young, 18, 19, and there is something about shifting that it makes you think, and you can't zone out. You can if you're really good at it, but back then I think you really were just driving for the exhilaration too. Some people just drove. They just put music on and drove. So hence the time travel back there. That'd be the superpower.
I think that the time travel one is really, really cool. I do. Like, that's a lot of power that you have, though, because then if you're going back to the 50s, like, it depends what kind of, like, because there's all these different theories of time travel and how time plays out afterwards. So let's just say that it's like this, and that way it's the least disruptive, is you go back into the 50s, you do whatever you do, you could step on grass, you know, that butterfly died accidentally by my foot. And so, but that's not going to affect the future because it creates another, like a dimension of reality. So then if you go back to the present, then you're traveling back to the present of which you knew before, not the different shard of reality that you created when you went back in time. You know, so then, but then that reality, could you then time travel to the other reality that you influenced, and then you could go through different dimensions of time travel. So time travel could actually be a lot of fun, I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got real deep there. It made me think of that Men in Black scene. That's always one that blows me away the most, when they zoom all the way out and you just see, you know, their galaxies of marble. That's what you just did to me right there, talking about all these different dimensions of laying time over itself. It's like a mathematical equation. But I would do it. Time travel, yeah, I think that's probably going to take the cake as the superpower because we just went into a whole different tangent.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're doing that, then potentially you could like go back in time and you could go to the future and see how desolate or thriving it is. Excuse me, and then you can go ahead and like educate people in the 50s or whatever about this, and then from there you would create a different shard of reality that you could then travel to where in 2020, like it's actually like a utopia because of the things that you helped people learn, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I mean,
but it didn't work in the Terminator. You know, John Connor was he was supposed to be the military leader in the future, so the Terminator was sent back in time to make sure he lived in this time so he could live to the future. But then you could still alter, so it's kind of weird because then everyone thought they were nuts. They thought they were nuts, because I love referencing the Terminator. It's one of my favorite movies. Sci-fi, fun. But when we're talking time travel, other than Back to the Future, hey, McFly, great movie.
Oh no, you guys aren't ready for this. Your kids are gonna love it though. He's all playing that rock song, and everyone's standing there. They're like, "What is this?" And he's like, you don't worry. 5-10 years, you guys are gonna love this.
Those are probably the two best time travel movies I can think of.
Yeah, I mean the Marvel, the whole Infinity Wars, and then Endgame is where all the time travel happens. That's kind of cool. Where else? I mean, time traveling is just so Einstein proved that you could travel forward in time, or he had a theory about it. No, it was Hawking's, Stephen Hawking's. Sorry,
no longer with us.
Yeah, no longer with us. Stephen Hawking's had this whole theory of how you could travel forward in time. And it makes sense. So the bigger an object is, the slower time moves around it. So if there's a heavier, denser gravity presence, then time actually moves slower. So time is not consistent throughout the universe. And then if you look at black holes and massive black holes, which are normally at the center of a universe, time is moving very slow at that massive black hole. So if you could have a ship that could travel to the center of the universe, which would be light years away. I don't know how many light years, but potentially if you could have a ship go into the event horizon zone to where you don't get sucked into the black hole, but you're just orbiting it, and then time is going to move really slow for those individuals. And then potentially if you went back to Earth after doing that for 10, 15 years, then I forget how many years would pass on Earth in that circumstance, but you could travel forward in time. But to travel back in time...
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I know what formula they're talking about, and I've even seen some examples laid out where the best they can come up with is maybe you can get 4 to 5 seconds ahead in time using kind of that similar theory. So, I don't know. I think we're a long way from that ever being a reality. But it's fun to think about.
It is.
It's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about. I think I would pick... teleportation.
Oh wow!
If I could pick one, I think it'd be teleporting. But then I was trying to challenge myself today, like what kind of mental strain would that create on my body? Like, would it make me extremely tired to teleport? Could I teleport once a day, or could I do it multiple times a day? I guess if it's a superpower, I get to choose that. But like, I'm trying to make it more difficult.
Where would you go, or what would you do?
Oh boy, where would I go? What would I do? I think I would go to the Siberian forest first during the summertime, like in the middle of northern Russia where nobody is, and I would go sit in those trees, and that would be my meditation spot for the first 20 minutes of the day. And then I think I would travel to Turkey afterward for a robust cup of coffee. And then I would go ahead and I don't know. If I could teleport, could I teleport other things? Because obviously I have to bring my clothes with me, or else I'm just teleporting and then I'm naked. So then
that's how the Terminator was sent through time.
So if I'm touching something, does that teleport with me?
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then I'm going into LTL freight and I'm doing same day delivery for everybody, and they're not going to know how in the hell I'm doing this, and I'm going to become super rich in logistics, teleporting freight.
In logistics. That's
Yes.
good. You got a plan for this.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a pretty good answer.
Go
I was
teleport
super
some stuff.
basic. I was thinking maybe I'd go to Costa Rica real quick and see a sloth, but then I was thinking I'd like to go to a desolate island. I've always thought it'd be fun to play the Castaway thing for a couple days. I'm not trying to
Go play it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make friends with Wilson for long or have to knock a tooth out with a rock, but I think it would be fun to sit on a desolate island, you know? So that's probably where I would go.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be good. How about you? Where if you could teleport anywhere?
Yeah, where are you going?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good question.
I'm using your question.
Question here.
That was her question.
Boy. That's a good question. I think I would probably go somewhere tropical and just go there somewhere where there's nothing to do. I mean nothing to do. And just spend an hour just in a tree sitting there and you know it would be really nice to be able to teleport somewhere where there were large cats, so tigers, whatever, and you could just see them for a little bit of time out in their own element and kind of get yourself back before anything would happen.
With big
That'd be
cats?
pretty cool. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, a desolate island. I mean, I wouldn't want to be taken out by a jaguar or a puma, but it would be fun to try to knock down a coconut and open it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking about playing Castaway. So, tropics are calling me. I need to go. The ocean's calling me. I haven't seen it in years.
Well, it's because I know why it's calling you. It's because
No, you don't.
yeah, I do. It's because you had Cabo planned,
Oh, that's right.
and then you had to cancel that
Yeah.
because of the moves that you're making in life.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you know more about my life than I know about my own, and that's true. That's probably why.
That's why he's craving that.
Yeah, I was going to go to
tropical.
Cabo, but plans changed.
Nice.
I'll get there.
Yeah, little beach time. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's amazing.
It resets the mind, like just the same way the mountains do. Because I went camping a couple weeks ago, just north of Lake George in the Tarryall Canyon. Great adventure up there. Tubing down the river, drinking beer in the river. Just being in nature, looking around, seeing these massive mountains. Because the mountains and the ocean kind of have that same effect on the body of the mind reset. Some people are more geared towards one or the other. Or you can be a surfer and a skier. You can do both. But there's something about hearing the waves crash in the ocean and feeling the power of this massive body of water.
Because the ocean is so massive, and I mean it's daunting how big it is, and like it makes you feel so tiny. And I feel like that's an important thing to feel in life is this presence of like I'm among this majestic scenery and environment ecosystem. Like when you put yourself out there and you like I was saying, sometimes I'll just go chill on the patio and just look at the trees blowing and the breeze. But like that to me is primal. I like to get back to primal things that thousands of years ago someone could appreciate the exact same thing I'm appreciating right now. Like looking at the stars. Like the stars are, I feel like, a way to time travel because, the stars speak over millenniums and the stars die, but they basically stay the same even after a star dies for hundreds of thousands of years. So like you're kind of looking into the past and if you think about humanity, like they looked at, Aristotle and all them, they looked at the same stars we're looking at. So that's one thing that I think is really cool is if you could get out of the city lights and you could actually go look at the stars and just think about how many people saw the exact same view, how many thousands of years ago. I think moments like that are super important to find an equilibrium to deal with, the social media, the job stress, the paying bills, the taxes, the life stress, everything that's constantly getting thrown at us. If you could do that daily and have a couple of those minutes to yourself to appreciate things that are timeless, like looking into a fire, like, right?
My favorite.
Like fires have been around since, and that's primal. Like if you think about it, like when you're staring at the flame, you can connect with ancestors that were, hundreds of years beyond our lives because
Man's
they
primitive flame.
They stared into the flame.
Oh yeah.
It's having that perspective and that kind of, like life is small, but it's all big at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it does the ego good, right? When you go to the ocean, you go, oh man, I'm really pretty small. There's, I'm just like kind of like a little sand. There's, the whole world out there. So it's really good for just kind of bringing you down to like, all right, my problems, there's probably a million, 20 million other people with very similar problems right now. So that's kind of nice. And when I was at the ocean actually Sunday, I'm getting mixed up on days, but I think it was Sunday. I was thinking about that with sand, where it's like, man, I wonder where all this has been. Think about that, like how much all of those little particles, and I'm sure there's a lot of science around how long it would take for all this, but it's just really cool to think of all the shipwrecks, all of the people, all the animals, all the things that have gone through that, and then all you have is just this handful of time really in your hand.
Wow.
Kind of cool.
That's a cool way to say it, a handful of time.
Handful of time, that is. It makes you appreciate it. I mean, that's the reason you go ground yourself in nature, whether it is at the ocean or up in the mountains, because I had that same feeling in the river I was in, just seeing these fish floating by. It's like, wow, I wonder where he came from. Or this rock that's been sitting in this riverbed, how long has that been there? How much debris has floated over this? It's cool. It grounds you a little bit. Gives that connection. Hit that reset button and recharge the batteries. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Life is a beautiful thing, but you have to be willing to look at it like that, because it could be difficult. Life is always full of challenges. Like, just to survive, we have to take life to eat, to eat meat, and it's a balance. And so the more time you can take to remove yourself from the modern day, I'm going to say cloud, because it could cloud your mind, like all the modern day stuff, and tap into just experiencing life, I feel like that's a very important place to be, because it's going to help center you, and it's going to help you when you actually need to go and go back and handle stuff. And yeah, so let's challenge everybody out there. Like, what can you do within the next 7 days that is going to take your mind somewhere primal? Like, where can you go to experience, like, the dirt through your hands, holding time in your hand,
A handful of time. Or hashtag gamitarian. That's primitive, right? You're eating off, apex deer or whatever it is, just animals naturally roaming around, not the store-bought stuff. Let's eat some game. That always is a grounding feeling too, because tasting the game, whether that's your buddy's cow on a farm or his pig or whatever, and you compare that to the store-bought stuff, you almost feel like the natural stuff tastes funny, but that's what it's supposed to taste like, So I like to compare that side by side. I'd much rather get the natural stuff. That game. Am I saying it right? Gamitarian.
Gamitarian. Yeah.
I love that term. I'm gonna use that a little bit. You coined it. I'm gonna use
it. Yeah, we've been eating elk mostly for 4 years now. Elk.
Mostly elk.
Mm-hmm.
Elk and deer.
Elk and deer. Yeah. So, there's, to your point, there's that little bit of unique taste. But when you work so hard, we process it all ourselves. And so we have like the grinder, and you care so much that you're like, okay, I am not going to make tacos and leave one taco. I'm going to make sure I have everything exactly so that I eat every bit of it. And then we like process the bones for the dogs. It's really cool. It's a wonderful thing. Last time I came on, I broke my arm.
Oh, that's right.
Hunting. And at the just wrong place, wrong time, crossing a log, and
Fell.
gun just whacked me in the arm. So this October will be round 2 to try and to be successful with an elk myself, and go through that process of having an animal for the whole year, and really just taking great care of how you make your own homemade meatballs or sausage or
so
whatever
good.
it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So good. I love it. There's nothing. Elk's so delicious, and it's a Colorado staple. I never had elk till I moved out here to the west, but it's so good.
Yeah.
I'll take elk, deer. Do you guys do moose or bear, anything like that?
Nothing like that yet. No. It's just all been the elk and the deer, and the brain food. I will say I feel so much better eating natural meat. It's just like, I can go eat and then be on the go. Before, I would just go and have chicken, and then I'd go, I need to go watch a comedy, and then I'd go, I need to go to bed. So it's been nice not getting so sluggish, actually.
Yeah, and there's a lot of a good nutrition in the meat. There's a lot of anti-meat propaganda out there, but I've seen a lot of the stuff I've seen on Instagram. The way that the meat propaganda says, here it's just bad for the heart, red meat this, but what you're leaving out is the niacin, the B vitamins, these natural essentials that come from the animal. Is also worth noting. It's not all bad. The anti-meat propaganda is a huge market. And of course, the vegan, vegetarian, I understand why that industry exists. Some people can't eat it. so they need an alternative. But for us meat eaters, it's not all bad, especially when you're processing and harvesting it yourself. I mean, it doesn't get much more primitive and organic than that. And a lot of people have a tendency to hate on that immediately. I don't know, are you familiar with Hannah Barron? She's a noodler. She does big catfishing and stuff. She's a hunter. She's a big Instagram influencer. And a lot of people give her slack for that. And she always brings that point home. You guys are going to the store buying cuts of ribeyes or chicken breast or whatever. We're out here doing it ourselves. So who's really, the problem here?
Yeah, and the animal, a lot of times actually roadkill helps out with cutting down on that when there's overpopulated deer. A lot of them will come down too close to the towns and cities, and next thing you know, it's much better way than a deer just, going complete waste to actually go through that process, and it makes you respect it. It's a good workout, a great workout. It is not
heavy
easy.
Animals.
Oh wow, it is not easy. Just even hunting, walking through the forest, you're out there with a big pack, and it's work just to even find them.
And patience.
Yes, patience, strategy, hard work, physical labor, planning. By the time you get that meat, like I said, you're not wasting one taco.
Yeah, you worked hard for it. You didn't walk into the grocery store and pay $10. You were out there getting yourself. Yeah, there's something. Everybody should experience it. I feel like if they have the opportunity to. Some people are a little bit turned away from it. I want to do boar hunting. I've never gotten involved with any pig hunting or anything like that. It looks extreme, but I love swine. I love boar. We have some in southeastern Colorado, Oklahoma area. That's something I want to try. The big game stuff, is fun. It's fun to experience, but I want to try some boar hunting. Get the dogs out there, primitive style where you got to stab it with a spear right in the heart. Really feel like get that blood on you. So that's a goal of mine.
Yeah, I actually would like to go. I've been wanting to my whole life. Supposedly it's kind of brutal, and that's another one where the overpopulation really messes with farmers and people in Oklahoma, Texas. So it's actually a really good thing. Yeah, it really is. And so it's actually something that's on both of our radar, my husband and my radar. So that's what we were wanting to do Valentine's Day, and so maybe next year where you can kind of go get a little cabin and then you can go hog hunting.
On Valentine's Day, huh? What a great way to spend it.
Great way to
I'm going to pitch that to my girlfriend.
Exactly.
Instead of red roses, we're dealing with another sort of red and in a much more intimate setting.
Exactly.
That pink and red, that swine. Although some of those boars are pretty dark. They got that hair, that thick hair on them. And they're aggressive.
Yeah, it's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
They got tusks and
they're powerful.
Yeah.
They're powerful. I probably wouldn't know what the hell I'm doing out there. I say, I'll get out there and get it done. I'd probably not know what I'm doing.
Tusks are huge ass teeth. They got some of those.
Yeah, they're coming off the sides, and a lot of the male. One thing I learned about the male boar is that they're very, very heavily testosterone pumps real thick in their body. So if you don't, I don't know if it's you don't hunt them at the right time, or if just in general, sometimes the over hormone in the animal naturally can contain the meat, and you really can only get limited resources off the animal that's fit for consumption.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I don't know if Rogan taught me that or somebody in the boar industry, but anyway, I think it would be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I hear it's good actually. I think it's an acquired taste, much like venison or deer, where you have to be smart on how you cook it, and then you have to be open-minded. Where it isn't processed meat. It's like if you go to the store and get pork, a lot of times it's got whatever additives or
nitrates.
Yeah. And it's different, but I've never tried it myself. But trying the deer, it's just really, I've learned to love it. It's wonderful. So, gamitarian is a good way.
Gamitarian. Gamitarian. Hashtag gamitarian. Get your game on. get your protein on.
Get ready. Get set. Game up.
And gamitarian.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I mean that sounds great. The more that you can, because life is, just society in general, society didn't know what it was going to do. Okay. I like to look at it like that. So, industrialization, let's just start there. We didn't know how bad coal would be in the long run. We didn't know all these things would really, and that's just kind of what happened. And then it keeps going, and then money is formed. And then power comes from money and control.
It's innovation.
And it just keeps piling on itself, And so, yeah, the whole time travel thing, I think that's super cool to think about, going back in time. And I did have a would you rather that kind of has to do with time as well. So the would you rather tonight is going to speak upon one's lifespan. So would you rather live 500 years, like you age slower, like so it takes 100 years for you to hit like the age of 18 or something, you know, so you're gonna go through life like that, you know, and everybody else lives a normal lifespan, you know, so you could live 500 years and you know, have this long experience. Or would you rather have a normal life but a shortened one, like you live to the age of 40 or 50, but you have a very impactful life, and your actions create ripples beyond your death? You know, would you rather live that 500 long year life where you're slowly aging while everybody else is going by you, or, you know, that super impactful normal life?
I think I'd go with the short life and impactful. I think that it would be just, you'd have to live in the moment and really get what you wanted. You couldn't procrastinate, so that'd be good. The long would be good too, but I couldn't imagine being a teenager for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Be like, oh man, my face hasn't stopped breaking out for the last 60 years.
Yeah, my voice has been cracking for 20 years. I can't get laid, and I'm 60 years old.
Yeah. And you got like that awkward, you know, pre-puberty mustache for like 47 years. You know,
That could be very difficult. And,
be difficult.
And then you got to like hide yourself, because if everyone else is like living the normal life, and then you're aging extremely slowly, like they're going to want to take your blood. Like they're going to want to figure that out. So you can't like have that impactful life if you're living like that, I feel like, because then people are eventually going to, you know, so you kind of have to be a little reclusive. Like you'd kind of have to be a little secretive.
5 centuries, I think, is too long to be alive. You know, when you really bring it back, would it be cool to see what happens over the next 450 years? Yeah, probably would. But I think the short and impactful way would be the best way to leave a footprint, right? Not to exit short and not leave a footprint behind, but because that's kind of the stipulations, right? You're going to exit early, but leave a positive footprint on society. Yeah. I think that one's pretty enticing, but I could also see how someone might say, hey, I want to see where technology goes in the next 4 decades. Yeah. Or in the 4 centuries, I should say. So for me, I think I'll go with the short and sweet exit.
Yeah. You know, if we were to bend the rules, I think the 500-year thing could be more attractive if you aged normally until like the age of 19 or 20, and then all of a sudden like it's slowed down, because who would want to?
There's probably a movie about that, I feel like.
It's definitely a good idea
for a movie.
Yeah, and then like
isn't it like Benjamin Button but in reverse? Wasn't he born like to his oldest, and then he got younger as he aged?
So how did he get born as like an old shriveled man?
I don't remember how it worked, but yeah, that was a cool movie. Just the concept of it was interesting.
I like original ideas like that. Yeah, being creative, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to always, you know, break the tie, so you guys can agree, and I'm gonna be the reclusive, mysterious Bigfoot, that
5-century hitter
that lives 500 years. Yes,
that lurks in the forests.
Yeah, and does things that, you know, has nothing to do with technology, and I just bring it back like that.
You'll pop out and be like, you know, 375 years ago, I remember when Facebook came out.
I wouldn't even know a language, because I would be so far gone from society for so many centuries that I would forget what it's like to talk to a human.
You put a lot of thought in this, man.
I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there.
I like it.
Yeah. How long would you wear your shirts, do you think, if they were still good? In that case.
Oh, yeah. So how long? You know, I would wear the shirt, I guess, until it fell apart.
So just ride it completely till the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yes.
That's a good question.
I don't know. That'd be interesting though, because like, you know, living that long, I kind of think about Highlander a little bit. Like there could only be one, like that kind of thing, and then like it would be lonely. Like you would have to like have a sense of, you know, self company, because you're living beyond anybody that you ever meet. You know.
Yeah, you'd really have to have a good relationship with your mind at that point. You'd have to be like the mindfulness master, pretty much, to be able to make it through 5 centuries. You'd have to get over, oh God, you'd think about that. You'd really have to be good at managing any anxiety. At that point, though, you probably would just be over it. You wouldn't care. You'd be like, it's going to pass.
Because you've
So
literally
be
seen and
wise.
done everything.
Yeah.
People that say been there, done that, you literally have after 5 centuries. You've seen how many presidents, how many countries go, how many new technologies come. I don't know. That's peeling back the layers and getting pretty deep. I think the short and sweet exit. That seems safe. Let's make a positive impact now.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the moral of
let's
it.
do some big things, make it happen, make the world, make a change. Because, everyone wants a legacy, right? Like everyone kind of worries about that. That's why people love to have their children, and that is fulfilling the legacy. Like you're passing something along. And, to do that is, it does have a place of importance. And so figure out what kind of legacy you want in life and what kind of impact you want to have, because it's important. Time is going to continue to tick. Like we can't slow the clock. And so this is something that is relevant to me. Just, my dad's dealing with some health issues, and we lost somebody that was kind of in our group growing up last weekend. And so I kind of think about time, and that's something we can't change. But, and I touched on this last week or the week before, but I'm going to keep repeating it because I'm telling myself constantly, like, I want to be intentional about my quality of time. And that's something that we can control. Time we can't control, but the quality of time we can. And so I'm trying to go through my days, regardless of how hard my day is, regardless of that, I'm trying to intentionally make it a good quality day for myself. And then that way, if I can continue to create quality days for myself, quality time for myself where like I feel like I'm doing something with my time, I feel like I'm being productive, not just scrolling. Hey, we all deserve a break. Sometimes I'll scroll for a couple hours. That's okay, but not all the time. So I just like to kind of put that out there again, and be intent on creating quality time for yourself. I think that's important.
Yeah. And it kind of buttons up this whole episode. We could touch on a lot of different areas of how we can do that, and some of the things that are out there, and just stop and smell the roses, the old cliche saying, but it really does go a long way, Appreciate the trees blowing in the wind, like you said. Some people may say it sounds a little hippie. You know what? In my older age, I've learned to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Stop living life in the fast lane. Unless you're driving a '67 Shelby, then floor it.
In that case, you got to go. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good. In Costa Rica, it was really. I personally walked away with just this mentality of actually, the internet went down at the facility that we were at. And so we were expecting to be able to go through training, work in the evenings, go through training, work in the evenings. And we're promoting this charity shoot. And it was like, okay, I've got this whole time to do nothing but that. And the internet went down because of an issue with their city's internet. And so what I learned there is no internet. We went to this little French bakery, good coffee, and a little small, like a little tiny thing, and these people that spoke French and made this amazing food. And it really taught me to just kind of stop, observe these little monkeys floating around in the trees, and it kind of like slapped me into stopping and listening. So it's funny that you brought that up, because I just got out of like a kind of a forced 21 plus days of having to stop and actually just experience the moment and not be frustrated of what I couldn't do and what I wanted to be doing with work, and so, or with business stuff. And this is really great tie-in.
Yeah, the more that we can focus on those little moments, because they're going to happen around us. If you're not paying attention to it, then you lost that moment. But it's happening, so you can, believe and achieve, finding those little moments in your day, because it's so busy. Life is so robust, full of activities that, sometimes it's good just to dial it back a little bit and just appreciate a breath.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Most of my buddies that live back in the country, if you ever ride in the truck with them, they're the type of people that always remind me, they'll stop. Look at that deer over there, Kev. You see that? Look at him. He's frolicking over there. And living in the country kind of grinds you and grounds you back to what that is, and appreciating the animals around you and the smells and stuff. But I always think of that, anytime you ride out in the countryside with someone, they're constantly looking, and they'll just stop. Look at that over there, and just take it in. Basic stuff that most people are like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. Take it in. It's fun. It's revitalizing.
Yeah.
So.
And you have a lot of animals that are out on your property that are not part of your, like, just wild animals.
Deer, yeah. Last night we were looking for the pony. We couldn't find one of our ponies, and so I was searching for him. It was
He was
first night
MIA.
back in the U.S., and I thought, oh no, someone lost the pony. So we're searching with the flashlight, and next thing you know, it's 2 pairs of eyes. So I was like, oh, it's him. Then another 2 pairs of eyes. It was like, oh, those are deer. So yeah, deer. Not a lot of mountain lions, but once in a blue moon you'll see it, a long tail, and it's not fun. But they've, knock on wood, we've been fine so far with mountain lions. You see. Oh boy, what else do we see? Bobcats. That's pretty much it.
No bear up there?
Eagles, bears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't really. Yes. So 2 months ago, we woke up and the dogs are going crazy in the middle of the night, 3 a.m, and the dogs are going crazy. My husband says, "Oh, be quiet, dogs," and I'm like, "No, I think there's something wrong because they're not just one of them going crazy. They're all running around the house." So we look out, and our big dog is just really running back and forth, and there's a bear, and he's going toward our dumpster, and it's a black bear, of course, and all it took was him saying, "Hey, you bear, go away." And the bear, they're so shy up there because it's so far out. It's not far, it's just rural, and so he put his head down and just kind of like shamefully walked away.
He's like, "Oh, I got caught. Fine,
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
I'll
an
leave.
idiot.
Fine.
It was really cute, actually. So the bears are pretty docile, but they will take your trash and they will run it through the trees, and you'll find banana peels all over the place. So you have to be really careful with your trash.
Gotta lock that trash up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a dumpster, so we have to.
Is
kind
it like a bear-proof one or just a regular old?
a ratchet strap? We
Okay.
just keep the ratchet strap,
And they still
that
get
keeps
through
the dumpster. Sometimes, they'll pull the weld off of the back if they really want the trash. So you have to be wise and like rinse out everything and
Yeah.
watch your elk, especially if you have like fresh elk. You have to be careful.
That's good info.
Yeah.
Fun place. Definitely a fun place. Well, we've reached the point in the episode where it's time to plug everything. Where can people find you? Where do they find you on social media? How do you get people up to this great property?
Yes, so for the event on the 22nd, it's August 22nd, Kiowa Creek Sporting Club. We're looking for sponsors still. You can get a mini sponsor if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, all the way up to a corporate sponsor. And there are a couple left that have a free team. So if you free shooting teams, and so there are those available. Still looking for some volunteers, and then of course shooters. You don't have to know how to shoot; it's a fun shoot. So it's literally golfing with guns. You can rent a gun there. Ammo is included. Breakfast, lunch, and raffle. And then last but not least, where you're gonna go is 99hearts.org/shoot for success. Once again, that's 99hearts.org/shoot for success, and everything's there. So how to donate a raffle item if you have one, that's another really good thing if you're just someone that wants to give back, and maybe you have a company that makes outdoor equipment or something like that and would like to be involved. It's a good way to get your name out there as well, since there'll be plenty of shooters, and all sponsors get logos on our website for a year, so that'll be a nice way to promote your company. And if anyone here watching needs the help, especially veterans or organizations that help veterans, folks that have struggled with depression and suicide, same place, 99hearts.org, and nominate yourself or someone that you care about. And we look at those every week, and we're always looking for more participants. We're headed into some fun retreats coming up next month, so it'll be a good time for it.
That's super exciting. Everything you're doing is helping people, and I feel like people in a position to help others should do their best to do that, and I feel like you're doing an excellent job at that. And helping the vets. I mean, we support vets over here at DCPC, and people who want to learn, people who might have a learning disability, or maybe you're just kind of struggling. Beyond the event that's on the 22nd, 99 Hearts, it touches so many different lives. And I mean, what a pleasure to have somebody like yourself in here to talk with us and spend an evening with us and share some laughs and some silly stories, but also some serious stories. And what a great time. And we feel like we made a great acquaintance with you, and just a very positive person that's doing strong things in the world.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be on the podcast. It's great. This has been my favorite thus far, so I'm like, yay. fun podcast, fun topics. I could talk about gamitarian Fords.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. You never know what's going to happen in these four walls. But
time travel.
Yeah.
It's good.
We'll touch on
Going to
everything
the
for
50s
sure.
and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
really
like
good
that
stuff,
one.
man.
I did. Well, everybody just, let's continue. Let's take a moment to reflect and to redirect our minds, because, every single day is going to throw different challenges, and it's easy to be reactive. And let's all take the difficult route and be proactive. Let's do the right thing no matter how hard it is. Let's work until the job's done, not until we're tired. Let's get it done. And there's more week, there's more life, and there's more to do. And I believe in every one of y'all out there can really make a difference in your own life and the people's around you.
Absolutely. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's set some basic goals that we can establish between now and next week's episode. Challenge yourself, guys. From how little it is to how big, doesn't matter. Gauge that on your own. Just challenge yourself. Roll the dice. Take a chance. Try something new. Do something that you've been thinking about doing, but maybe been discouraged. Now is the time. We can't control time, like Art said, but we control the quality of our time. Believe and achieve. Own it. Be good to yourselves. Be sure to check out 99 Hearts and all the great stuff they do over there. We're going to include everything in the show notes down below, so you're not going to miss anything. Jacqueline, this was so much fun. We'll have you back again. We've made great partnerships here, and we're going to have you back on the cast in the future. But in the meantime, sign up, go out there, do some shooting, have some fun, check these guys out, and we'll see you soon. Be good to yourselves. You deserve it.